Oh, it looks so beautiful.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the show.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for showing up, supporting us.
That would be S. Graham, my brother.
Thank you for the
And
invite,
You're welcome, Jim, and his friend, Gary
Gary.
Passwater.
here, yes, thank you. Thank you for coming in. As you can see, scrolling across the screen is the Veterans Crisis Line. Tonight's topic basically is going to be about veteran suicide as the October 2021 um, overview has come out from the Attorney General's office, and one of those is the suicide rate of the veterans and how they are. So I've done some research for the last couple of days, and what we wanted to do was basically get some of this awareness out. And we have got a complete vet panel, except for myself, of KY Rights for Vets. Our new person, Gary. Thank you, by the way, for coming to our show, and Jim Busby. And any other
12
vets.
Bravo, welcome to the show. Frost Lee, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank 12 Bravo, Frost Lee, Desert Goat. Thank you for showing up.
Thank you.
All right. So what basically what we are finding out that the suicide rate amongst veterans mainly is in the middle age group. So approximately 65% of all veterans who died by suicide were age 50 or older. But after adjusting for differences in age, risk for suicide 19% higher among male veterans when compared to U.S. non veteran adult males. But the biggest increase was the female veterans. That was 2.5 times higher among female veterans when compared to U.S. non veteran adult women. These trends seem to be popping up. And through the VA, they released a nice little thing, and all these things. I can put the links in there for you to actually read the articles, or you can just simply hold on. I gotta. The VA, of course, is where I get most of my sources from because we're, like I said, me and Rights for Vets, who deals with VA hospitals. I deal with the VA administration, me and KY. And this release that they came out with on the suicide, I wanted to go over different aspects of why this is to bring some kind of a better understanding on how we can help our vets. Now, one of the things they are saying about this is most VA suicides are preventable. They actually believe that most of the time these vets are actually reaching out for help. Now, the problem is when these veterans are coming home, and I did not know this, but you're talking about what they call homecoming. And I, for most of my life, have judged homecoming as to be something very good, and what you would think. And what one of the articles they said is basically you see these veterans coming home, and they have this minute of joy where the confetti's flying all over the place, everyone's dancing up and down. But then when they actually get to their houses and they have to settle down, that's when things start to fall apart for a lot of vets who do not get help.
Well,
And
and there's a lot of times when veterans come home, there's no parade. You get off the plane on the tarmac, you go through, you sit down, there's a debrief for half an hour to an hour and a half to whatever you're going through. You've got equipment to turn in and stuff. If you've got your weapon still, you've got to turn that in. It all depends on the situation. Uh, and then you go home. There's no parade, no band, no nothing.
no, there's not, and it's also the fact that the environment they're living in from, and I guess if they come back and they have any form of PTSD and they're not getting any counseling or help from it, they actually have trying to acclimate, and I didn't even think about this, from a war torn environment where they're constantly a threat to a house that's calm, and now instead of living with their buddies, they're actually living with their wife and children. They um they actually consider the five top causes, because they're all different, of veterans killing themselves compared to regular citizens. Theirs list as follows: any kind of legal issues. And usually those are pretty stressful anyway, because the legal issues usually include divorce. They come back from war and they found they've lost their house,
Foreclosure, yeah, foreclosure, loss of
foreclosures,
property,
which is
or their
amazing.
children because maybe the wife couldn't handle the stress of, depending on how many children, and then became a child services involvement or a school, so because the child is acting out because the parent is gone. There's all kind of a whole host of issues that go on.
And they have to now deal with this. One of the things that happens too is that they will, their family members, children, especially young children, who like to run around and scream and yell and slam things, will set off or trigger an actual event. Um, we The other statistics about the suicide data that was showed up on the VA was that Texas and Florida both lost 530 vets due to the suicide in October, or throughout those years. But that's the most in the country. So basically, that's the what I'm saying there is Texas and Florida have the most suicide rates for vets at this moment, while Hawaii, Rhode Island, and North Dakota have the least. And like I said, most of the vets who are committing suicide are between the ages of 55 and 74. And 70% of the vets killed use a weapon, a gun. The reason that's important is one of the studies they did is on reacclimation to the homecoming. There are programs set up for vets, but apparently some vets are actually not going to these. They actually resist going to the counseling that they can bring this stuff up. So that's an issue right there. What the VA is trying to do is get family members to actually convince their spouses or loved ones to go in when they first get out. But like I said, the percentages are not showing that. Um, the One of the things they stated was, and I can read this from family, is you go to war, you do not come back the same. That's Sebastian Junger wrote in Vanity Fair. That our warriors are not killing themselves from trauma of combat, it's the trauma from coming home. When you join the military, you start in basic training or boot camp, beginning your new life with the potential to be at ready 24/7. The military becomes your new family, your new friends, your community, your educators, your
Everything.
employers.
It becomes everything.
Basically, your everything provided to your structure, your mission, your purpose, all laid top in potential life and death situations. This new reality begins to psychologically, philosophically, and emotionally change the warrior's new reality and begins to set in. Experience during and after the military service. So they have to come back and they have to be acclimated into this new reality. And what happens is they're not getting the counseling they need, or the actual breakdown of it to help them out. So you have this thing where, while culture cheers and applauds the military as they go into war, it tends to suspect and stigmatize those who return, viewing them as a culture of others, dangerous or broken. Not unlike we regard immigrants, without a feeling of belonging. As their struggles increase, their sense of being a burden to others, and then veterans may encounter a downward spiral. And this downward spiral that leads to depression and elevated suicide risk is one of the couple of the articles I've been reading about. And like I said, this leads to a host of really bad stuff, because again, that is one of your top five things: isolation, legal reasons, homelessness, any kind of
PTSD.
financial, right? Then it will set off. And if you have PTSD and you come home, then chances are it's not going to go well without that. Now, one of
Uh,
the
in that
case,
in that regard, a very good book on this subject, as I read uh, 2 years ago when I was having my hip replaced. I was in the hospital for 4 months. My son got me a book. It's called "Thank You for Your Service." It's about a Gulf War veteran came home with PTSD and what he went through with the VA supposedly trying to help him, how they ignored him at times, gave him meds that didn't do anything. We've heard this story before, folks. Uh, but that book goes through all of this. Uh,
right?
and
Um,
if you have a chance, uh, whether you have a hard paper copy or online or whatever, uh, uh, thank you for your service is a very, very good book that goes in all of this.
right, that'd be a good way too. Is like I said, when they come home and they don't go through some kind of debriefing or some kind of counseling, this home, this homecoming condition sets in. And one of the case studies that we're reading on was, and she gave her name, Misty Morris. She lived with her husband Anthony, father of the three kids, an Afghanistan veteran for 6 years. After he returned from active combat in the Middle East, he required severe PTSD. He did not go for any counseling or anything. So one day he imagined that his wife and kids were planning to attack him in the kitchen. So they fought over a large knife. At the end, he came to. When the attack was finished, he realized what had happened. He ended up checking into a hotel, and later that night he killed himself. And he left four suicide notes: one for his wife, one for each of his kids, and one for his parents and brother. They only allowed one to be, but I felt it would be worth reading. It goes, "The love of my life, I'm sorry, daddy just can't be fixed. No matter how hard I try to be normal and level headed, it always comes back, and even worse. Wasn't always this bad. I wish I had died in Afghanistan. I was never right again. What I did had to happen and is nobody's fault but my own. I will always love you." And then he look after Misty and the kids when I'm gone. And he killed himself.
If there's any veterans in our panel that would like to come up, uh, you don't have to participate every second, but if you'd like to speak, I just put the link in the chat. You're welcome to come up. This is for us. This is for us veterans. In case any of you don't know me, I spent 28 years in the Army. I'm 80% disabled veteran, and that's why one of the reasons we're doing this is the government's not doing it for us. They're not supporting enough. They're not doing enough. So we have to support them and support uphold the promises that they made to us.
Shoot, hold on.
No, Desert Goat, you're absolutely correct. Veterans over immigrants any day of the week, every day of the week. All right.
All right, I made another one. Oh, hold on.
Who should I heard a beep? Who,
Fotoma.
Fotoma, welcome to the show.
Howdy,
I,
can you hear me?
yes, it's
Yes,
fine.
yes.
I take it you're
I'm,
another one of Jim's friends.
I'm actually Frosty in the chat.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
You sound like you're in Texas,
No, I'm actually in Florida,
Florida.
and
Okay, okay.
it's 29 degrees.
And it's 65 here in Kentucky.
Huh?
it's 65 here in Kentucky.
I don't want to be on here very long. Uh, I just want to talk about something that I encountered today.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Uh, I, I do a lot of, uh, I don't know what you'd call it, but anyway, I follow a lot of First Amendment auditors, and one of them came on today and was quite confused. He equated killing anybody with murder, and I took exception to it a little bit. I mean,
Well, his name wasn't Rebel, was it?
what?
It wasn't Rebel, was it?
I don't know who that is, but no, that was not.
Okay, okay.
Uh,
He is
I'm
he
not
is
gonna.
he's
I'm not
another
gonna.
lunatic. He's another
Yeah.
lunatic who feels that way. That all veterans that have shot someone in defense of their country is a murderer.
Well, yeah, that's basically what this guy was saying, and but he's. I'm not going to mention any names. I'm not here to bash anyone. He's
No,
entitled
no,
to his opinion, and I
that's
told him.
exactly.
I said, well, I've seen some of your First Amendment work, and I don't have a problem with it. I'm going to support people even if I disagree with them as far as that goes. But what he was saying about killing and murdering and it being the same thing, I just couldn't.
No.
I couldn't stay silent for that, and then I had my say, and they told me the what is it? What do you call those things with the wrench?
Oh,
Uh,
moderator.
yeah,
Yes.
Moderator.
moderator. Yeah, they, they they told me, well, why don't you do your own show or something? And I said, well, that's not really my forte, but I'll step up and speak my piece on it if I have an opportunity. And that just happened today, and I was quite surprised because I thought we kind of left that behind, and society come to terms with supporting the military a little bit. And I know
Yeah.
there's always people that are not going to do that, but
We're generally here Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes we have more shows on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Bud's been sick with an infection. My wife got the COVID shot and killed her in September. So I've been going through a number of things. My world has been turned upside down. Uh, After 43 years, 44 years together, our relationship abruptly ended. But I'm 65. I'll be 66 next month, and I've known my wife for 65 years. Uh, our whole life, we knew each other. So we I was depressed for a couple of days myself. There were 3 days in a row last week. I didn't get out of bed. I'll be honest. I didn't get out of bed for 3 days. Used the bathroom and right back to bed. I couldn't face the world. Uh, it was hitting me, and I admit it. I'm not the strongest person in the world that could just ignore your wife passing. I'm sorry. I'm human.
that's a difficult situation. Very few people can actually compare themselves to your
Exactly.
situation.
So what I'm getting by it and through it with the help of friends and the work that we do here, trying to help others and feeding the homeless in California, which we're going to be doing pretty soon. We've done it several times, and we're in the process of forming our LLC and our 501c3, uh, and we're moving forward. We've got about $2,400, I believe, in the account, and we can do a number of feeds with that after we pay the fees for our incorporation as an LLC and register as a charity. We'll still have plenty of money left and to feed a couple times. So that's the whole purpose is to help veterans. Maybe they just need to cross some T's and dot some I's to get services. Whatever the idea is to help them and feed them because the government's totally ignoring the citizens It's all about what we can do for illegal immigrants illegally entering the country and what we can do for them.
Yeah,
Apparently, so
that's insanity. Uh,
insanity. Exactly. Exactly.
I, I'll just say it sounds like you're on the humanitarian mission. I think more people need to, approach that and define it for themselves. I think that's what I'm on, and that's one of the reasons that I'm paying attention to the First Amendment community, because I believe humanity is going to be served best when it has the most amount of freedom. It'll also have the most amount of social order.
Amen. Amen.
Yes, yes. That's the reason I watched First Amendment auditors too.
So
I
Um,
think
I,
I
so
think
now,
they're the ones that's going to set us free.
Well,
I believe,
they're our last one of our last lines of defense, trying to uphold the First Amendment.
all right, all
They're
right.
Yes.
they're at every corner trying to cut off. You can't make this kind of comments on social media platforms. The press is run by the rich, and they don't want us to hear the truth. They want to hear what their agenda is, and that's it. So we can't say too much. They'll cut us off. They'll cut us
Yeah.
off here.
yeah, I hear you. So anyway, I'm going to be around, and I hope to support y'all. And
Okay. Well, thank you.
I'm going to get off here and let other people say
Well,
their
we have room
piece. I
for
just
10. We have room for 10. If you want to turn your camera off and just sit here and listen, you're welcome to stay up if you want. We've got room. We've got room for 5 more, so there's plenty of room up on the panel yet.
I don't even know how to turn my camera off.
Okay, on the bottom of your screen, it should say mute, and then start cam,
No, we're not ready
stop
for
cam.
panel.
Not
There you
open
go.
cam.
There you go.
There
You're
you go. You
good.
got it.
uh, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.
How do I get my little raccoon up there? I want my little raccoon up there.
Well, you
Well,
click. We'll go through.
Avatar.
Yeah, maybe Jim can help you do an avatar. When you
Yeah.
or Rights for Vets can help you do that. We
Yeah.
trained him already.
Yep,
Well,
sure did.
If
we
we
don't.
train him, we can train anybody.
That's true. He's right. No, he's right. Oh my gosh, that was a handful.
It
Trying to learn this. Yeah,
was,
it was.
M,
Yeah, oh yeah.
and we're
M
still learning.
Star.
We're not experts. We're still learning.
M Star's in the chat. She's awesome.
Yes,
Well, we don't have to work on it right now. We'll do it some other time. But
exactly.
I was just curious. Just curious.
That's how you get started.
All right. So,
Yeah, a yield grenade at a vet who had PTSD. Oh my God! If someone had done to my father, he'd have beat him within an inch of their life after what he went through in the Philippines. It wasn't until we were 10 or 12 years old, my brother and I, that we were able to wake my dad up. If he was sleeping on the couch, we didn't dare wake him up or try to go near him when if he sat on the couch and dozed off. No, 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 no. We no. He My mom said your dad is not to be touched, woken, or bothered if he falls asleep on the couch. He could harm you. So, boys, stay away. Do not. And you older boys, make sure your younger brothers don't throw a toy or something that hits your dad and wakes him up because he will go off.
now I put down in the chat the number for veterans who are in crisis or having thoughts of suicide. Or if you know a veteran in crisis, you can call either one of those. There's 24 hours a day. You can call that number or you can text it and at 838-255. Also, you can find that one in chat. Also, that's the Woman Veterans Call Center. That number right there will get you housing, temporary housing if you need it, or any other issues, as well as the this number if you were homeless.
Did you guys hear what the mayor of Sacramento is trying to do for the homeless?
No,
They're trying to make the people that have been homeless for at least a year wants, offer them an indoor home or indoor apartment or something like that. And I'm not real sure how it works, but I was listening to it. I thought it was a pretty good idea.
admirable, very admirable.
All right. Also, here's another number I can put out there for you guys.
Where did Bell go?
I have no idea. There you go, guys. That's for also anybody who knows any family members. So when the emotional issues reach a crisis point, veterans and their loved ones can also contact these numbers and also chat. They can actually chat online. And going forward, most of these the questionnaire that the VA has done found out that they could have saved most of these are preventable. And in their updated thing, the data compilation of the research study, it goes like this. Oops, that's not it. Sorry, wrong one.
There's a code. The VA has changed somewhat in the last 14 years, trying to institute the new programs, and but the important thing is the VA is only as good as the people they hire, and the only as good as the people in charge at each location. And that's why some hospitals are better than others because they have better people in charge. Just like any military unit, you can have a bad commander, a bad first sergeant, bad platoon leaders, and the people underneath them, they're just going to do the bare minimum or whatever the problem is. So that's what makes the difference between one VA hospital or a center or whatever it is that you're going to. That's what makes the difference.
Now, also, as you can see, these are what the VA has now determined to be some of the highest risk factors for actual suicide. And if you look on there, of course, previous attempts at suicide, but again, isolation, family issues are a big part of them. So when they come home with this homecoming thing, they should realize that if there is anything going on there, like the isolation part, which is why that man actually ended up having to fight because they won't go in and get help and they end up staying by themselves. Now, VA vets are no different really than any normal person when it comes to preventive measures of suicide. Some of the easiest things you can do are, and I'm looking for the chart. I don't know where well, anyway, so most of the time they're just like normal people. I cannot find the list. So many thoughts anywhere else? Usually
You're talking about what preventative
says
measures?
yes, totally preventative measures. These are some of the things they will do. And I mean, they're just standard. Like I said, suicide is not just a military problem. Actually, it's a across the board issue. But right there, it tells you their behaviors that
Isolation is one of the biggest things where when they start acting a little off, their friends start ignoring them. Teenagers are especially bad at that. The teens and the early 20s, you start acting a little off, your friends just start ignoring you. And that makes you more isolated and thereby intensifying the feelings. And because why? Well, they just pull it instead of talking to you, they pull back into their video games or whatever it is they're into, TikTok or whatever social platform that they're into. Uh, it's just today's society. We are not a one-on-one talk to each other's society anymore. Now that we have electronic means, everything is done. They can be 10 feet away and people are texting each other instead of just talking, looking at each other, talking to each other, and seeing the interactions on your face and how you're reacting. They don't read that anymore because everything's done at a screen. All you see is the words. You don't see the reaction to the words because you're not looking at them. And that
Also,
again it adds more isolation because they can't read the interaction. They can't tell you. They can say, "Oh yes, I really feel for you," and meanwhile they're yawning or whatever, or looking and watching TV. When you're trying to talk to them, you don't know what they're doing.
usually the part of isolation also is it makes you in the echo chamber.
Yes,
Suicide prevention hotlines always tell you to immediately call them back every couple hours because if you call them, it breaks that 10. Now, some of the things you can look for when it comes to, like I said, it's just like almost standard VETS habit. Giving away prized possessions, for example. If they start handing away things that they've always valued most of their life, then chances are, and if they're getting their orders together, all their money paid or something like that,
if they
engaging
try to
in
give
risk,
their pets, or they have pets, and they love those pets, and suddenly they want to give those pets away to someone else.
right,
That's
engaging
a
in
that's a big red flag.
engaging in risky activities without thinking, losing interest in hobbies, work, or school, increasing drug and alcohol use, neglecting personal welfare, deteriorating physical appearance, withdrawing from family and friends, the isolation.
Yep.
And like I said, getting affairs in order, trying to loosen up ends, or writing a will. These are some of the signs you can look for suicide
Because
if
you're
you
going,
have.
if you want to write the word ass, you don't have to do that with the pound signs. We get your ass kicked is acceptable language.
But again, right
Sometimes
there,
that's what it takes for kids to realize that's what their boundary is. That's what set your boundaries straight.
so if you do know a veteran out there, like I said, their main things are like homeless, so it makes sense that you have if the veterans are homeless, they're going like I said, for the ages of 50 to 75 are the most deaths in veterans. Women's are the actually gaining there are more female suicides now per average than men on this front. So that's we also, like I said, there's a veterans crisis line that handles both male and female vets, but you also have an independent women's veteran call center, which you can call and they will respond to any crisis you have. So, like I said, this show really is to get the awareness out there. It's disturbing some of the. I decided not to read the actual statistics. I went over that and over that, but they're pretty bad. You're looking at about 20 to 24 veterans a month killing themselves. There has been more dead, um, simply more dead military personnel have died than more than Afghanistan and Iraq. It's just ridiculous. I mean, so you figure they went out and fought the war, but the biggest thing is coming home, not the actual battlefield.
Back in my day, there was a lot of suicide by cop, and I think that's what got more attention to it. That was before they even come out with the term PTSD.
Well, before we called it PTSD, we called it battle fatigue. We called it a number of different things. World War II is battle fatigue.
Yeah, but you don't see, at least as far as I know, you don't see that much suicide by cop anymore. Not
No,
like not like it was back in the like late 70s.
late 70s, early 80s. Yes.
And I know, contrary to personal belief, the cops are actually used to these fools trying to do that. They actually don't want to shoot them on TV and shit. Well, at least they didn't before. Now, I also put out there the suicide rate amongst United States folk has been increased in the last 20 years. But since 911, the war, suicide rate is even higher for average Americans. So look how many military people get killed. More military people have died by their own hands than the enemy. It's really scary. When most of this stuff can actually be worked with, it can be prevented according to what these people are saying. But the presence of the following signs of suicide are the ones where you should take action. Just saying. This is what the VA has determined to be the most critical. If you get stuff like this occurring, have your friend call for them, get a hold of the crisis center. The presence of any veteran that says they want to kill themselves, you can't take it as a joke. It's probably you would want to call someone to help them because you can't imagine the gravity of what they've been through, and so it's that's the difference between public suicides and military suicides. Public suicides are have nothing to do with like war type suicides and guilt and stuff due to that kind of stuff. So, like I said, the number is for women is flashing up there. The number for general across the board help for any military or themselves if they would like to call is this number right here. It's a Veterans Crisis Line. So again, we now see that when these vets come home from after, remember now, we sent them off. We said we support the troops and we cheered them on when they went. But then when they come home, it's bad enough that you have all these vets that are homeless. But apparently, we just don't care about their general mental being because in the military, what the AF from what is it? The VA has said they are working on programs, so I don't have a problem with the organization. I have a problem with the way it's run because the programs are there, the studies are there, and you can go on and there's the VA. You can you can have it downloaded on podcasts, so you don't even have to read it. You can just literally read the stuff, which is countless, or just listen to them talk about it. But they are addressing the issues that we're bringing up. They're just not getting done. I just don't understand why. I don't know if it's a matter of these military people not being able to reach out and get where they need to go, which is what we are trying to do. Because seriously, there's like a homeless veterans number to call. They will help most veterans out to try to find homes. There are places that the military use to house homeless vets. So it's just a matter of getting a hold of the right people for some of them. I mean, of course, that's not going to help all of them, but again, if you were able to use the VA, then I would suggest doing it. The only problem is that we have the inconsistency of the way they were treated, which was the other show we had with rights, and which we're going to have another one on about the conditions of the way they treat certain vets and certain VAs across the United States. And it's astounding to see the amount of corruption that is actually going on in the VA, which is a whole nother show. But the reason I wanted to show the corruption is because that leads and tends to like an infection spreads right into the help that they actually give the vets. But like I said, the VA has issues. It's a good setup, but it has issues. And we're just trying to point out those issues to hopefully find ways to fix those issues so that the vets don't have to go through this. Like I said, any vet who's homeless or looking at going homeless, you can call that. Any woman that would like, that is the Women's Veterans Call Center. Any issues you may have, including suicide, homelessness, ailments, you can reach out to them, as well as, of course, the Veterans Crisis Line. That number is open 24 hours a day. The Veterans Crisis Line. You can reach that anytime, either by text or by phone. They have online counselors ready to talk, actual chat.
The one thing though you have to consider if you're going to call a VA, like 357, or I believe it was said, you have to be careful what you say to them, because if they think that you're at risk, they will send the police to your house and they will and can confiscate any firearms in the house at that time.
Yes, you're absolutely right, KY. That is all part of what they've been talking about in here that we brought up. Right now, 70% of all veterans that kill themselves is by a
Firearms.
weapon. The next percentage, or the highest, is by strangulation, followed by pills. You know, overdosing.
That
Where women tend to use the pills, it's less messy.
a bottle of sleeping pills and a jug of wine or something or
There you
alcohol.
go.
Yeah. Yes.
But they're preventable. They really are. They are really preventable. And if you, like me, or you would like to help prevent veteran suicides, you can always hook up to some of these programs and get actually trained at doing them. And that's all located on the VA website. Um, the suicide prevention program and stuff that they offer. I don't know if they charge for it. I don't. I did not follow the links to, because I'm not. I can't take a course right now. I say because I do want to look into it. But they offer you basic, which you can still get. You know, suicide prevention talking techniques and what to do when they call in and they say they want to kill themselves, or you can volunteer to be a chat buddy. You know, you get on phone calls. These vets can call you whenever. It's part of the SAVE program. You know, it allows vets, if they're lonely or talking, or if they are just on the edge, you can, if you're trained properly, keep them from going there and actually advise them into go into counseling. Separate ways that you do that, or certain ways. Again, I'm not trained in those areas, but you know, you don't want to disagree with them. You don't want to fight with them. You want to reinforce that things will be okay. You know, those things, just basic common sense, really, if you think about it. That you would tell someone who's emotionally upset on the other end of the phone. But again, here's more warning signs to look for, and if the veteran needs support, those are the warning signs. And again, if you have any issues, or if you don't know what, or if you even think so, you call the number above. Anyone can, the crisis line. They will advise you what to do. And like KY says, you don't have to tell them anything. If they ask if they have a weapon, you tell them you don't know. Because he's absolutely right. One of the things that because of the fact that the suicide rate amongst vets, most is using a gun, they will immediately, if they think there's any chance of you doing this, they will come and take the weapon. Because the further you are away from a harmful element, the better it is for your recovery. So
They'll
I almost go ahead.
they'll Baker Act you too if they think they need to, and they're going to put you in some treatment for a short period of time, or at least
Or
Oh,
observation.
evaluation for 72 hours. Yes.
right, but right now the suicide rate amongst vets is more than the regular rates in anywhere. They're high. They're only getting worse. We are losing up to 28 in some vets, and I mean, look how many of them are dying in Florida, and
22
it's
to 28 a day everywhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just has to stop. I mean, we have to see. This is my thing. I'm like, okay, tried your way, it didn't work, but it has to stop. I mean, they're dying. They're actually dying, and there's got to be a way to stop it. So
Well, I just speak for myself because I dealt with it too, and uh, the way I was looking at it back then, I had no idea I needed help early on. I thought everybody else was crazy, and I was the only sane one. I really thought that. So you couldn't have convinced me I needed any help. But then when things started getting a little more serious, I seen a program on TV, and the guy spoke about the situation and he laid it all out. And I said, well, damn, that's just how I feel. Now I see what's wrong. Now, what do I do about it? Because there wasn't no sure answers at that time.
Then there never are sure answers.
Yeah, there's none. Suicides. While they have the statistics, they do admit that there's no way to actually calm down why it's done. It's basically it's everyone's personal experiences that lead to what happens and the lack of help they get thereafter.
Yeah, I believe that's right. I think you're right there.
Like I said, most of these vets can be helped according to what the VA says because of the interviews they did. I'm going on what the VA says. And basically the most of their suicides lead from like KY had brought up earlier, isolation. And they have a condition they and like moral dismay. What was that thing KY had brought up?
Moral decay.
I think that's what it was. But
Moral
basically
decay. Not dismay, just moral decay.
what happens is this is when you come back you start getting these feelings of regret and guilt for things you may have done or you may have seen. Or, now you may not necessarily have to do anything, but realistically, if you were in the area and your troop did it, that also affects them. It's amazing the amount of effect. But this moral decay brings them down even further into what they call the spiral spin, which leads to the suicide. So once you see these signs that they're doing this, that's what they're trying to say that they should be called. But again, I understand. There will be consequences from the call. I mean, if you're calling to tell them that this is going on, they now have no choice because of the massive amount of suicides done with this stuff. So I don't know. I don't know what you would do.
Yeah, you got to convince the guy that he actually has a problem and get him to believe it. And if he can believe it,
Exactly.
he'll do something about it because you can't help somebody who's not willing to help themselves. And if a guy doesn't think he has a problem,
He's not
you
going
got
to
a
listen to a word you say.
you got a handful to deal with to get him to believe it because and you, that's where you got to address some of the actions that he's taking. And if you can describe it like that guy on TV described it that night, and I realized what the problem was, then if you can do that, you can open his mind a little
You're
bit for.
you're halfway home.
Yep, it took me a while to get straightened out, but I got straightened out.
Can I just mention something here, folks? Sorry,
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
I am not a veteran. I support my veterans. I love my veterans. I even do shows for veterans. Um, but what I find with veterans is that when they're coming back, they don't have the support that they need. And when it is there to a point. The problem is that there's such a long waiting list, and then there's a lot of the time there's no real follow up. I think that if you come back from doing a tour or something overseas, when you come back, you should be automatically hooked up with a VA and have a peer support. And that peer support person would maybe check up on you every 2 weeks or something, just to make sure that you're in the right frame of mind. A quick phone call, make sure that you're okay, and maybe offer some outside help then.
Well, that
But I
is
notice here in Canada, it's impossible for veterans to get help when they need it the most
well,
because
that's what
things are only open 9 to 5.
yeah,
Not
and that's
everything
what
happens 9 to 5, right?
That's exactly,
and
exactly.
this is all about what we've been talking about. The VA has now got what they call the homecoming. And that is exactly what the problem is when we spent the last 40 minutes going over when they come home they are not the same person. Neither is their wife, neither is their
Mhm.
families, and what they do need is someone to almost like a debriefing is what.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
because and this is why the VA has admitted that most of these veteran suicides can be prevented if they are acclimated better into society. And
Reacclimated.
reacclimated. And this is why I'm trying to find that word that I think it was but go on. I can't find it.
The word in reference to
Moral decay. I don't think it's moral decay though. I don't think that's the name they use. That's what's driving me crazy. I'm sorry. I had it. But anyway, go ahead. Moral injury. That's what it is.
moral injury.
Right. And what it basically is, and I'll put it in chat, is
Your
according
morals have been changed by your tour of duty.
exactly, and what you've seen and what you've had to endure. But and I guess because like you had brought up earlier, most of these kids don't realize that when you join the military, um, you give up your right to decide what to do at any point, at any time. I mean, everything you do is told to. It's structured, it's organized, and so when you
You
come back and you're on your own.
you older guys like me, you remember the commercials? Fun, travel, adventure. join the
Yeah.
army today. Fun, travel, and adventure.
Fly,
They didn't
fly
tell
the
you about the shooting and the trauma that awaited you either.
fly the friendly skies.
Fly the friendly skies, and launch some missiles, kill some friends.
Launch a missile, kill. See that, but that's really it. This is what we need to, and like Canadian was saying, you really do need to have the acclimate back. I mean, you do. When my father worked for the government, he worked for the CIA. When he ended a tour, he was responsible to go back to the Pentagon to do a debriefing for a week. I don't understand how he had to do that when he didn't have nothing stressful going on where he was working.
Well, you don't know. You don't know
Well,
what you're.
all right, fair
You
enough.
got to be
But
honest.
no,
I'm sure
all
you didn't
right.
know everything your dad did.
No, I did not. I didn't know a touch of what he did. But the bottom line is, so why don't we do that for the vets then when they come back out of war? I mean, that's war. You're I don't know. It's hard enough to go in and fight a war, but then you don't have any choice where you get to go or how you do it. I'm just saying. So then they come home and now all of a sudden all that's gone. All that
Well,
structure, all that.
I, my personal opinion, I think the military itself has a duty because in my situation, I went through basic training, AIT, and then shipped overseas. Well, I had a 3 year enlistment, and when I come back, I had a year and a half stateside. And I think during that time, the military has a responsibility to deal with the people that are coming back and set up some kind of program while they're in the military.
May
They're
I ask
captive,
what your MOS was?
67 in 20,
67. I'm not familiar.
crew chief, helicopters.
Okay.
So when you're if you still got time on your enlistment, there should be a program up there, and they should be dealing with those issues before you get out of the military. Because there were guys that were in the military when I was in that were making a career out of it, and they'd seen three tours, and it had extensions on those tours. And this one guy who was a captain, and the way he dealt with it is he just told war stories all the time, and everybody sat and listened to him because they're pretty damn interesting. Again, he went through some crap, and that's how he dealt with it. And I can't imagine what would happen to that fella if he ever did get out of the military. But he was making a career out of it, so hopefully everything worked out.
I have a friend. When I was stationed in Minnesota with Commander Musovic, him and I served in the same unit for a year and a half together. Small world,
Isn't it?
I have a friend there. He is the unit armorer for the 322nd. And he did 3 tours in Vietnam as a door gunner. And he's long retired from the military by now, but he did 3 tours. He had both of his ankles part of him blown away because he got hit, but was standing in the door. And uh, he said, I lost 6 helicopters from underneath me. We crashed 6 times. He said, that's another reason I don't have any ankles, And both of my knees have been replaced. I have plastic ankles and ceramic knees. And he said, that's why I won't, they won't let me go outside, but they let me be an armorer. So here this guy is 3 tours as a door gunner, which is almost absolutely unheard of if anyone knows any Vietnam veterans that were door gunners. Uh, the average life expectancy was 1/2 of 1 tour for a door gunner. And he did 3 tours, made it through it, and then came home and he's working for the post office. He joined the reserves and moved from there. And for a civilian job, he works for the post office. So we always joked him, hey, don't go postal on us. Because here you are, a veteran from Vietnam, and your armor, you have full access to all these weapons. And you work for the post office, so please don't go postal on us. But he is the nicest guy.
Just like me.
That's it. Hello, Gil. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. That's right.
And feel free to come up if you want. We are doing suicide prevention awareness for, military. And I guess anyone, actually. These are veterans crisis lines, but if you are not a veteran and you are thinking about suicide, there's numbers you just dial 911, or what was the number? There's a number you can dial, 611 or 911. 911 would work, but there's another number you can dial that would send you straight to a prevention hotline. Yeah. Hi, Banana. Thanks for coming in. And so now, you guys, what would you want to see then for when they come home? Now there's programs now to help teach family members and stuff how to welcome their returning soldier, which basically is an outreach network, like you were bringing up, Ashamed, earlier. It's the same. It basically links them into counselors and stuff and family support groups.
I think the thing that would probably help the most is knowing what the person was interested in prior to going into the military. Did he have an artistic interest? Did he have a interest in building things, or maybe he was interested in growing things or farming or whatever? And if you can trigger those prior interests and get them directed towards that, it goes a long way. It's kind of like your emotional support animal, but it doesn't have to be an animal. It could be a hobby or anything.
Well, that's one of the things that they start to pull away from is the hobbies and stuff they did. So that's a good thing to keep in mind, because if you notice they're not doing that, they're pulling away, then, and especially if they start getting their stuff in line. But however, you know, I put up the warning signs before. They're just like with most people. You do get extra ones from military personnel. But if anyone out there, again, if you know of anyone out there that veteran wise is thinking about suicide or harming themselves, these numbers are specifically set up for vets. There are people that will help them and know what they're doing. After reading a lot of the articles and just scratching the surface, I'm confident that the VA actually does support suicide vets. So we just need to get the programs out there. Yes, thank you, Bill. This is a no drama channel. We are about vets. Sometimes a little bit boring, but we
And
enjoy it, right?
sometimes we create a little bit of drama with jokes, but not
Yeah,
much.
not much. Today is because, like I said,
You can't have all work no play. That's just totally boring.
yeah.
That's why we throw Bud under the bus every now and
Yes,
then.
yes. Bud is a under the bus guy. Now, our next show we're going to be talking about some other issues from the VA as well, which leads to what we're getting into now. So, hey, welcome in, Road Dog. Basically, the problem I see with the VA is there's not enough oversight, and like KY had brought up earlier, just a lack of competent people working in these positions. I mean, because their programs are good, their their what do you call it? Their implementate imp,
Implement
blah blah
implementation.
blah blah implementations implementation of
You're close. You'll get it. Have another beer.
as a beer shit. You
The
know this.
implementation.
Yeah, this stuff is important, and apparently they're not doing it because I don't understand how you can read this stuff and some of these doctors and what they're saying and what they're pushing are actually awesome. I'm hoping it's just not like, painting a pig to make it look like you know, I don't get it though, but a lot of these programs, since they want to do that, like the homeless veterans, if they're actually like we promote homeless on this channel, especially veterans, there is help. There's numbers out there you can call, and this is one right here. Right here, if you know or know of a veteran who is either getting ready to go homeless, preferably if you know they're having issues and almost going homeless, the number would probably be best to call then. But if you know a veteran who's homeless, which by God we know quite a few, don't we, KY?
Yeah.
You you would have to give them the number and they would have to call. Unless, of course, you go down to the VA and you get your certification or your security clearance, so that you can actually talk to
Interact with
them,
them. Yeah.
interact with them, because otherwise they think you're the Taliban and they won't talk to you.
You could be the Taliban trying to kill veterans, so we're not going to tell
Yes,
you
you can.
nothing. Yeah.
Now, remember, the most suicides recently, again, I'll say this, has been the women. And I've typed in there how they do it, but mostly they're 40% use guns, but then their next biggest thing is strangulation and poisoning. And this doesn't have to be done. Those type of suicides are usually, from what they are saying, again, the survey, and it's a long survey, and it's a lot of medical, you know, jargon, so it's
Mumbo
hard to.
jumbo.
Well, yeah, shit.
That's what we called it, right, guys?
Yeah,
Mumbo jumbo.
exactly. Well, it's all there, but they talk about the fact that these things are the way they are. That because of the means of the suicide and how they've done it, these can probably be most likely prevented. They really truly believe this because of the survivors who've tried to kill themselves and after they've talked to them. So it all just gets down to that then, guys. It's simply bringing awareness out there so that people, the family members and stuff, which there are programs just for the family members to call, and you can also get that through the Veterans Crisis Line. They will, I don't remember the exact name, but it is like a homecoming project. I've looked for it because I had it last week. I was reading up on it, and it's basically it's set up common sense that the family members get set up in a network or a support group, so that if something goes wrong with their husband or their loved one, their wife or whatever, they come back and have issues, they can address them before it gets out of hand. Because a lot of the times what they're saying is when these veterans come home, it's not just a dramatic event for them, it's a dramatic event for the wife or spouse. So it's hard for them to actually keep a clear head and see the signs of what's going on with their husband when they're trying to adapt to reacclimate him back into the home with the children and
Readapt
them.
in a lot of
Readapt.
cases.
So unfortunately, they don't see it coming. So what's necessary, even with them, not just the vet, is that they have a support group. a network so that because this is the best thing, people. I mean, honestly, if you have issues and really talk to a group of people, don't just go to a psychologist and sit at his desk and talk. That's not going to help you. But if you go into a counseling session like they're recommending for these military people, a support group, you get to hear it from several different people about something similar going on with you, thus making your problem not seem so overwhelming and isolated, because that's the key.
Well, hey,
You
someone
gotta,
else has the same problem I have. Wow.
yes, we
You
don't
know,
want it, and they live. They live, and then you look at them and, well, they're doing it well, and see it does help. And if you both talk about it, and the fact that, like I said, it keeps them talking, because if they get isolated, they get hot boxed, and that's it. They'll kill themselves because they have made themselves believe that there is no solution when there really is. And
Hey,
everyone
bud.
welcome. Yes, sir.
Uh, I put in the chat there. I don't know if it's showing up in the comments or not, but I put in the chat there for the Crisis Service Canada hotline, and that's for suicide prevention here in Canada. And it
very
also
good.
deals with the veterans
Yes.
also. So it's not just for certain people; it's for veterans also. So, and I don't happen to
Could
see it in
you
the comments, but
could you put it in private, brother? I don't know why I'm not seeing your comments. And do me a favor, type something now in comments. I want to see if I see you in the comments at all, because I'm not seeing you.
one
I'm not seeing
second.
anything in the comments
All right,
from
I'm
him
going.
lately.
Hold on, I gotta
I
go.
saw him earlier
All right, I'm gonna go
because I
check the
said hello to
channel.
him. I saw him
Oh,
earlier, and I typed hello to him when I saw.
Hang on, I'm
yeah.
checking to see if he's been.
It was at 9 o'clock I put it up, but I'll put it in the private chat too.
5 minutes ago.
Jackie Green's out there.
Yes,
She
we're
can come
welcome,
in.
Jackie. Yes,
She's
she
another
can.
veteran, prior service. You bet.
She's already. Let's see, creator, community,
Oh,
community.
Jackie, good to see you. Glad you could make it. Yeah, here at
Private
8:06.
chat now.
At 8:06, I see hello by a shamed Canadian. That's the last post I see. 8:06, bud.
Well, he's not been blocked. He's not being blocked. I
But
just checked.
if you want to, okay, there it is. He's got the number in the private.
Private, all right. Uh, there you go, brother. There you go, brother. What do you think? Ashamed.
Can you guys hear me? I'm having problems with this new mic.
Oh, I just can hear you. I went ahead and put it in chat, and I'm scrolling it too. So any of you Canadian vets out there who need help, it is open like the United States one, 24/7.
Or if you know a Canadian vet that needs help. Did you happen to record that number, bud?
Yeah, that's if you look up on the screen.
Well, what I'm saying is we could put these numbers in our page
Yeah.
for our channel.
Well, I saved it on this in my Discord, so
Okay, okay.
we can go in and put it on which call. So well, 801, good to see you, brother. I'm gonna make it one. So again, everyone, this is today's episode of our this is about suicide prevention. So that's what all the numbers you see, and of course, right there is Canadian one. In case you are one of our Canadian supporters and you know of a military person or you are a military person who needs help, there is the number for them. If you're a woman and you want just this is a women's veteran call center, specifically set up for women. Reason they did that was because of some of the stuff that was going on in there that they wanted just women to help them. I don't know how to put that, but it's like rape and sexual assault.
They feel about funny about coming forward to a man. So,
Right, or just going to a place that has men in it. This is more comfortable for
oh
them.
yes, they feel threatened just doing that
Yes.
in some cases because of the assault. So yes,
Now, if anybody else, including women as well, are thinking about suicide or anything, of course, the Veterans Crisis Line is open 24/7. They include I'm looking for it right now, but they you can chat online, you can talk to them, and here's how you do that. Right here's the numbers and that for that. If you're there, which is actually it's the VA the crisis line as well as the online chat and the text number to text as well. So you can call that number and press 1, or you can chat online by texting 838-255. And those services are available 24 hours for any vet that needs them.
I'll give a plug to News New England because basically he's the one that I think I seen one of you fellas, maybe more, I don't know, on his show, and
Yep,
you were
the
talking.
bud.
yes,
So he's doing good work over there. I have a lot of respect for him, and he treated me fine when I
his
was
daughter is a major in the active duty right now.
yeah. So yeah, he's interested in veterans issues, and
Exactly.
he's a good guy. Sent me
Yeah,
here.
we had a. Well, thank you for coming. We had a show that's a KY, but no, sorry, Bud Joe.
You all right? Yeah, we had a show over there, and we were just over there the other day talking about issues and trying to resolve what we could. And it just takes everybody to pitch in because he's in agreement with us. Our government is not addressing these issues in sufficient manner to resolve them.
No, they're not. And if you look at all the political contributions, I mean, it's millions and millions of dollars. And when people realize and finally wake up that the solution is not going to be from a political party, and it's going to be people taking a little bit and putting it towards things that that can
Matter.
actually make a difference. Yeah,
That's
things that
right. Things
matter.
that matter.
And why there isn't more uh, funds available is, that it's a mystery kind of, but I mean,
It's
I would.
not that the funds aren't available. If you talk to Right for Vets, he'll tell you what their budget is. Am I right, but right? I think he fell asleep on us. Right.
I'm right here. I'll just shut it off. I'll tell
He,
you.
he was
Someone
talking
move around,
about we need
made
more funds
noises.
available to the VA. I said you just quoted the other day what their budget was. How many?
200 and $220 billion. In 2014, it was 180 billion dollars. So
So
they jacked it up.
they have a gigantic budget. It's they're not using it appropriately.
They have 175 VA hospitals across our country here.
Hey, give me 1 sec. Everyone, welcome. News New England. Thank you for coming in, sir. Thank you for sending Fudama. And we'd also like to thank News New England and Stephen Musial for helping us to get our LLC. Much love. Okay, sorry.
Welcome, Brian. Yeah, so it's not a matter of they don't have money. Oh my God, they have a lot of money. It's how they apply the money.
Yeah, it really is poor because their programs that I've found, and like I said, is just amazing. The stuff they have out there, and the articles I read that we can't bring up on this show, but and you can go get all these, by the way, at the VA webpage. It is amazing, some of the stuff. Sign up for the newsletters, and I'm of course I signed up for all of them. I'm greedy. But I get all their stuff on national strategy preventing veteran suicide, which is the 2018 to 2028 edition. I don't know what that really means, but that's their latest one. They just released that apparently, along with their some other reports from the Veterans Affairs Department. So there's really good stuff in there to help you, and the suicide prevention. They got a lot of good information. They also have a lot of programs out there to help them and where to send them. The warning signs, of course, we've been publishing all through the chat room today. Shows you what you can do, the signs to look for. You don't have to be a family member. You don't have to be a spouse. You just simply see a friend, a vet, or someone you know, a neighbor. The VA takes anonymous calls, and they will probably even send somebody out to check up on them, like a welfare check. I don't know how that works, but they do recommend calling the number that is scrolling on the bottom right there. And if you are a woman, which right now apparently that's become the thing where women are committing more suicides, there's a call center just for you, which is right there, Women's Veterans Call Center. Um, so the signs are out there. And from what the VA has said, and I do believe them from reading the articles, most of these people that tried to commit suicide and survived have basically said it was the isolation that did it most. The fear of the finances they found when they got home, or if they had the loved ones split up with them. But it all leads basically down to isolation. And the warning signs are out there. And so it's not hard because, again, these people are coming back from a war. So there's a sign to look for it. And from what we've been told, most of the family members, and like I said, if you want to call them, you can call them. If you want to online chat, there's a number. From what they've been telling most of these vets, if they get the help they need when they come back, which they won't ask for it, a lot of this can be prevented. And there's quite a few vets committing suicide, more that died by the hands of the enemy in Afghanistan and Iraq. So this needs to be
Combined.
changed, combined. So we need to work on those things. Brian, come up, brother. Let's see what
Anybody else wants to come up and have something to say? We're more than welcome to bring you up and listen to what you have to say, because This is how we learn, through interacting with each other and opening up. It's part of the healing process too for those who have problems. I
No
wish my
offense
wife
to
would
anybody
kill me.
no offense to anybody on panel here or that, but I feel like we shouldn't have to do stuff like this to get help
No.
for our vets.
We agree. We
Uh,
agree.
and
Shane,
that's why I have such mad respect for you guys. You know,
I used to
you
tell
guys
people,
are doing God's work as far as I'm concerned. So
Thank
I
you.
used to tell people I was insulted by all of us should be by Wounded Warrior Act, because it's not that they're not helping the vets; it's who's helping the vets. It's the family members.
yeah,
Why should there even be an organization called Wounded Warrior? Why does a Wounded Warrior have to beg for help?
Because VA don't help the
Because
veterans.
VA don't help them. Exactly.
yeah. And, you know, I see so much hurt in that. Like I said, some of you guys know who I am. I've worked with the homeless and that for over almost 4 decades. Um, and I've seen homeless service personnel here in Canada like you wouldn't believe. And there's some days that I just feel like crying my balls off because of the way that they're treated. Um, you know, they should be given the utmost respect, and it just hurts the hell out of me that they're treated like this.
Now, what the veterans need is private care is what they need. Get away from VA hospital. Let us choose what's right, either VA or private care. What I went through, and Bud knows about it, and so does KY, what I went
Yep.
through VA. And I'll tell you what, I went through hell in my life for 14 years. VA is nothing but lies. And it's just a damn shame how they are. We need private care. We don't need VA.
Because private care has accountability, and they don't have immunity.
And that's why you'll never see it.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
But like I said, I've been reading a lot. This is not. I do believe there is avenues out there, like the services offered for couples and stuff. They just don't. It's like a maze to find these things. And I think their execution is that this done on that way on purpose to make it almost impossible for them to find this. What they need is sort of like what we have in the civilian world, or actually like rights with saying they should be allowed to go into civilian, but an advocate. I mean, someone that knows their way around. Like we are trying to be advocates here. Is basically what this channel will do. Is we want to find the resources and stuff and be able to send them to certain people. That's an advocate. But if that can be done by anyone, it should be done at whenever your loved one goes into the hospital. There should be an advocate there working at that hospital.
When you're in the active duty, when you go to a military hospital, there is always a section called benefit advocate.
Well, there you go.
Well, they should have those at the VA hospitals.
They
too.
should. They should have those at the VA. Exactly. Like I said, that doesn't make any sense because especially with how complicated things are getting. I mean, just to get the scratch the surface, and that's all I've done. That's it. I mean, there was thousands of pages of stuff on some of these articles. I just know when I could done them all, but an advocate will go through that stuff and have it ready. And then when a vet comes up, I mean, for them to have to start from scratch in a time when they're usually so stressed and need the help right away, it makes it impossible. And that's why you need an advocate. I think they should be assigned one. I think vets, like when we used to go overseas with my father, when we would get over there, we were assigned a family to help us acclimate into the new sponsor. There you go.
Whenever you PCS in the military, you're assigned a sponsor. That's standard procedure.
So why don't they do it here? Why don't they do it at the VA? Just saying. That would help out a lot of it,
They do have advocates there. I got two of them over at John Dingle Hospital.
Dingleberry.
Yeah,
John
it's like with my
Dingleberry.
primary careless physicians. Yeah. Uh, as soon as the doctor tells them to bow out, they don't do nothing for you. They can't do nothing for you. If the doctor says get out of there, the advocate runs. He won't do nothing for a vet. There's no investigation or nothing. When they tell him that's it, that's it. He's done. He works for the government. He doesn't work for us. That's the truth.
Yeah,
just a
that's not
shame.
the way it should be because
No.
no, I mean when I
They're supposed
say
to be there to stand up for the veterans and what their
Right.
problem is.
or help them get it
That's
solved.
poor administration. Was what that is.
Yeah, it is.
When I was at Fort Knox and my wife had a thyroid problem, and they set up his appointment to see a private doctor downtown Louisville because their endocrinologist got mobilized to the Middle East, and they didn't have one, and she was supposed to have her thyroid radiated. Well, we don't have one to do that. I said, well, then send us to a private. Well, we don't normally do that. Well, you normally have a doctor here to do that, but you don't have one. But well, I don't know what we're gonna do. So fine. Meanwhile, my wife's in risk of dying because her blood pressure is so high, and she wakes up, her pulse is 200 when she wakes up, and you're telling me that you don't know what you're gonna do. So we went down to the patient advocate, and I explained to him. I said, "You don't have one." He got mobilized. His name is Doctor So and So. You can go in your computer and check. I said, "We have to have her radiated I-131 iodine and kill her thyroid so that her blood pressure and everything can come down because she's got so many tumors on the thyroid. Her body's going crazy, and we need a doctor downtown Louisville somewhere to take care of this and do this procedure."
Hey guys,
Oh,
I'm gonna have to
2 days later, she had an appointment downtown.
guys, I'm gonna have to bow out. I gotta go eat dinner.
Okay.
And appreciate you guys having me again. Nice to meet you, Photo Mile. Ashamed Cannon. Nice to meet you. And you guys stay cool, huh?
All right, Jim. Thank you for
always,
coming.
Jim, thank you, brother.
Uh-huh.
Here,
Gil, can I give you my email so we could talk? I'd love to have an interview with you if possible. I mean,
With who?
always love to have Gil. He's from the Vietnam
Oh,
War. That'd be
okay.
really nice. And Blue Steel, I believe, is also a veteran.
Yep.
I'd like to have both of them. I'm gonna put my email in the
I got it.
Oh, good. Yeah, drop regular chat so you guys can get a hold of me so we could add you to our panel. It'd be really nice. And of course, right now, if you'd like to come up and put your 2 cents in on the suicide, which is tonight's main theme, we're really trying to get the message out there because, like the last thing, it is preventable. All we have to do is our part to make sure our nation's veterans know help is available. And that really will make a difference. It really, really would make a difference.
Huh. I'm having trouble connecting for some reason.
Who?
My computer's having. I'm a feeling it's going to.
So yeah, that's bud.grower@yahoo.com. Or yeah, you can get a hold of me there. Or of course, let's see the.
And it did. It kicked me off.
Yeah, you poor bat.
Stupid Dell. It does this maintenance, and whatever it chooses, and it always chooses when I'm on panel to do maintenance. It can't do it while I'm not using it. It's got to choose when I'm in the middle of a panel. Oh, we're shutting down all your browsers so we can check the. You don't need to do it while I'm talking online and using it. Do it while I'm playing cards or while I'm sleeping. I'm trying to. Yeah, that it showed up. There it is. I see it where I put it in the chat.
Nice. Thank you.
I have to agree with 12 Bravo there. I've been to some bad VAs and I've been to some better ones, and I think
I've been
yeah,
told of that same thing. Atlanta is not one of them.
yeah. I've never been to that one, but right now I'm fairly satisfied. I won't say that you're getting the best care or the best of anything really, but it's adequate. Let's put it that way. But and I realize there are a lot of people that have been mistreated, and I was too at one time when I first went to the VA. I walked out of there swearing I'd never go back to that place, and I didn't. But later on, the Air Force guy says, "Well, things changed a little bit." He says, "You ought to give it a try," and he talked me into it. And so it's just this this hospital I'm dealing with has been pretty good. So I don't have a lot of complaints.
Yes, they're all different.
Okay. All right, guys, I'm gonna take off. I'll catch you guys in a while. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Really. I'll see you in a while, bud.
Thank you for coming
All
on.
right, take care, rights. So,
Jackie, can you come up?
oh, I'd love to have Jackie or Blue Steel or um, is he still here? I don't see him.
Jackie, are you still here?
Yeah, or no, or Gil. Yeah, or
She
is
said her
Gil
wrench
or
disappeared. Well, okay, well,
that's impossible. I'm the only one that does that. Right?
Jackie at 8:20, she made a comment. Let me see if she has a wrench at 8:20.
She never had a wrench.
Oh,
never
yeah,
had a
you
wrench.
don't, yeah, you wouldn't have a wrench here on V for Vets.
Yeah, I don't give
On
them any
Brian's
wrenches.
channel, you
Brian,
did,
yes.
but not here on V for Vets. That's one that has nothing to do with the other.
Oh, there goes the doggies.
Well, other than that, we just about covered our subject for tonight. I don't know
Yes,
how
we
much
did.
longer you want to go.
Well, actually, this is it. Rights and then we
Other
had him
than to
come
bring
up.
up, other than to bring up the fact that we are putting together another feeding adventure shortly.
Yes. Yes, we will be doing that soon. Expect to see, hopefully, cross your fingers, the old crew getting together again. And we may even do our little sideshow, the haunted episode. After we do the feeding when it gets too dark, we'd go do the haunted thing. We may be doing that too now, Probably me and Grandma be protecting the car when they go do the hunting thing, depending on where we're doing it. Blue Steel, yeah, you hopefully you got that email, sir. You can send me an email we can set up. Still would love to have you on another night, if not tonight. And Jackie, you can come up if you want. If not, we like I said, we've been going for an hour and 30 minutes on the topic of suicide prevention for the military, which is, like I said, is a good thing because it is preventable. And you have not only the veterans, which will take care of both male and female, but you have the females that is scrolling across the top. For any females that may need some counseling or may need some help because of related issue, you can call that number.
And then
If
we can have people like Jackie come up and they can tell us how they did or didn't help them at all.
exactly, and then of
That's
course,
that's
if
what we're
you're
here for. We want to hear both for and against. Maybe they helped her, maybe they didn't help her.
right, and
A couple of women I've talked to that are veterans, they got help, they got good help. But my friend Darla Kaboy will tell you when she went to the VA hospital in Hawaii, she had a problem and they refused to do an MRI. The doctor refused to do an MRI on her, even though her primary care doctor said she really should have one. If it hadn't been for her sergeant major's wife working for the commandant of the hospital, she would have never gotten the MRI she needed. Well, you shouldn't have to be that way.
Exactly. Now, for any of you of our Canadian friends, veterans out there that need any kind of assistance, suicide, mental, physical, that number right there will help you. It's open 24/7, just like here in the United States. And then, of course, one of the biggest things we like to support for any homeless veteran who's out there that can get to the phone. Right now, we can't do anything. We don't have the ability, but what we will try to do is find in these campments we're going to and try to link them up with these people at that number. I am currently trying to work out getting my own counselor there, or my own person, that several of them that will give me their numbers so they can go to them direct, and let them know the situation that's going on, because it's different, than. But if you know a veteran who might be going homeless, you can direct them to that number as well. So again, there's your homeless number. And then anyone, like I said, with the suicide, you have the Veterans Crisis Line number. They're open 24/7. And I believe I had a better number, which this one right here gives you the text number, because if you don't want to call them on the phone, you can always contact them on the internet or via text this number here. And like I said, those are also available 24 hours in case you guys need help during that, or if you know someone that needs it. And like I said, just a lot of the high rate of suicide in the military can be prevented. Again, they're finding out that most of it has to do with the isolation and utter frustration of not thinking there's anybody out there that can help them, when in fact there are quite a few.
Yeah, and it makes a difference what type of unit you're in. If you're in a combat unit or a support unit, it all makes it. A maintenance unit has typically twice the number of females than a combat unit, because there are a lot of women mechanics and other roles in a maintenance unit.
They're all necessary.
All
What day?
necessary.
Even back in the 70s, when I was in first active duty in the maintenance unit, we had probably 30 women mechanics and welders. We had a woman welder, had a woman machinist in my squad. I was squad leader as a machinist. My first tour, I was a machinist. I went in as a machinist, and her nickname, we called her Cricket. And I know several women mechanics that got friendly, because they helped us when we would have to work on a part of a tank or whatever we were working on. They would have to tear the parts down and tear them off so that we could do the machining that had to be done on them. Sometimes tankers live and die to bust their tanks down at Fort. I was at Fort Hood. They live and die to bust their tanks so they don't have to go out in the field. Okay, so our job was to put them back together again, so they had to get their ass out in the field. And they bust the head studs off, so they blow a head. Oh, I can't go out in the field. My engine's down. Oh, we send it over here. We had almost 200 mechanics, and a tank came in, and we could have it back running in a day or two, or three at most, for most times. If the transmission's broke, no problem. We pull that tranny out and put a new one in, stick it in, put it back together, test it, be back on the road in 2 or 3 days. And we had a float. We had like six transmissions, 6 engines. You blew an engine, no problem. Send it over here. If your first line maintenance couldn't handle it, we pull a pack, drop a new engine in, you'd be on the road. Meanwhile, the mechanics, they're rebuilding other engines that have come in so they go back in the pool for the float. It's just a matter of changing the serial numbers in your paperwork in the tank, which serial number parts are in the tank. And the biggest thing was turbochargers. They burned out turbochargers and didn't let them cool down properly. They do that purposely. Oh, the turbos are gone. I can't go out in the field. Oh, no problem. The problem is turbos get hot and cold, and those nuts would literally weld themselves to the studs. So you try to take the exhaust off, they'd bust all the studs off. Oh no, all the studs are broke off. So we can't. No problem. We got a new turbo. Pull
Well,
the turbo off and drop a new one in. Go ahead.
they used to say it took 10 people in support to keep one guy on the battlefield. It might
That's
be
right.
more than that now.
Now it's probably more than that. Probably 15.
So it's all necessary. It's all a teamwork thing.
Yeah, like one of the things that I've been considering doing here in Canada is trying to work with some landlords and let them know about these veterans that are out on the street and that, and try and work with them about giving them housing instead of having them on the streets. This is going to be a very hard thing. I've been contacting people all across Canada in the last week on this ever since I did my show there November 11th. And it's something that's really hitting me even harder lately, especially after what happened to Robert Bodell up in Alaska. So, and just seeing all the veterans that are out on the street with no help in that. We need to support these guys. We need to get them off the street as fast as possible. So, if there's landlords out there that are willing to, sacrifice a room to help somebody, you
Or
don't
make
know
some
what that
kind of
would do.
accommodation. Yeah, just make some kind of
Yes,
accommodation.
yes. And it would be great. You don't know what that would do for a person's morale, especially in those situations. Just having a roof over their head would ease. I'm not saying all of it or a lot of it or that, but it would ease some of what they're going through. And it gives them that space to call their home instead of calling a cardboard box and a blanket on the street corner a home. That really affects people, no matter if you're a veteran or not, but especially if you're a veteran, because it sort of brings back I call it the PTSD of your service from when you were maybe had to hide out behind rocks and that. And you might have been there for 3-4 days. You could have been there for weeks at a time, and that's living in a box on a street corner can trigger stuff like that, and can really bring on the PTSD even worse. So that's why I've just been trying to ask landlords, like, open up your hearts. These guys opened up their lives to fight for you. At least you can do is, show some kind of support and help get them off the street.
And for those of you out there who like our avatars, Stevie Mao assisted us in creating them. I came up with an initial idea with the V for Vets design, and we got our heads together, all the people here in our group, and then we made some changes, and then we made some more changes, and we ended up with what we have here, and 5 other variations of the number 4 in the middle. Here's bells with the Canadian and U.S. working together. If you're interested in an avatar, Stevie Mao will help you with that. He doesn't ask for any money, but if you have a donation you'd like to donate to him in exchange for his work, the time he spends, sometimes a week, creating an avatar, he'd appreciate any donation you make to him. But like I said, he doesn't charge, and he makes wonderful. He made my original avatar, both of them, and I have no complaints whatsoever.
He's a little
he made
shady
this,
though. You gotta watch him, but
yeah, a little
there he is.
shady,
He's
because
a little shady.
that one, and he made this one for me, And if you need an avatar that like Photoma, if you'd like an avatar, if you're gonna be coming on more panels or whatever, if you'd like you said, a raccoon or whatever. Uh,
Raccoon.
Yeah, I'll make a mess out of your kitchen, buddy.
Raccoon.
I just learned how to do it, and that's why I should have actually put this up before I came on. I wasn't paying
no,
attention to my
that the one you
avatar,
had is
but
fine. The one you had is fine.
yeah, but
it
this
shows
is the
that
one that
you're in
I
distress.
meant to use. Yeah, but this is the one I meant to use for out of respect for our veterans and that. Like
Okay.
I found this picture and I made it into my avatar, and I thought that it really represents my feelings towards the Canadian military. I don't know if you can see it that well, but
Hold on.
yeah,
I'll put you on big screen. Nice.
so when I seen that, I had to use it as an avatar, and for any of the stuff that I was doing for the whole month in November, I was going to use this avatar. Just a, I keep forgetting to change it when I go into different panels and stuff like that, because people know me by a certain avatar, so they'll bring me up by that. So, but this is the one that I try to do out of respect for our military. And instead of just going for the whole month, I'm going to try and run this for the rest of the year.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
But I'm still waiting for Stevie Mao to make me a nice one. Just saying, Stevie.
Hey, here it was months. It was months you've been waiting, hasn't it? Like about a year.
Something like that, yeah.
Look, dude, I sent another 5 boxes of tissues. I don't know what else to do for you. How could you do that, Stevie?
Oh yes. No, I understand that he's probably busy. He's a working man and stuff like that. And he probably even forgot about it because he's so busy with the people in the States there. And like, I understand I'm in a different country.
He's gonna pull the Canadian card.
Hey.
Are you Catholic? Canadian guilt card.
No. I had to throw that in for a joke, brother. That's all that is. No. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to stuff like this, there are no borders. So, and that's why I really like bells. I love all of them. I like, no offense, but I like bells the most. Sorry, because it shows unity between countries.
There you go. And for the most part, our militaries have unity.
Yes. Like, well, Canada has never actually waged war on anybody. We've actually just
Correct.
followed people. So, and we're usually the peacekeepers that go in and stuff like that. We're really good at putting out oil fires.
And on the lighter side for Veterans Ticket Foundation, they have discounted and or free tickets to all kinds of events all over the country. And all you just sign up and they will send you information about football games, basketball games, NFL games, concerts, you name it. 40 or 45 different events almost every day where tickets are available. But be sure you read all the rules. Rules say that if you sign up and request tickets for an event and you don't show up, they give you a strike. After 2 strikes, you don't get tickets anymore. So don't sign up for anything you're not going to use your tickets for, because they're hard to come by and The same with selling. If you ask for tickets and you don't use them, you sell them to someone else, they're gonna slice you off the list and blacklist you. You won't be able to come back. Just for veterans or your immediate family. But yeah, there's a lot of things being offered by them. They're very supportive. Veterans Ticket Foundation.
Huh, never heard of it. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
It doesn't matter what your veteran status. If you're a veteran, you're qualified to get assistance and help from them. I get notices every day. 43 new events. Football games, college football games, basketball games, soccer. Depends on what you're interested in. They'll send you information on any or all or none of the above. Depending on what you click. There's like 16 different choices of what kind of tickets you're looking for, and the more you check, the more notices you'll get. Can drive you crazy if you check them all.
One good thing that I'd like to say though is like I had a person actually donate me a turkey today for the Christmas dinner that I'm doing for the homeless this year. So,
Oh, okay.
um, it's gonna probably take about 3 or 4 to do it, but like I'm doing my best to come up with it, and I'm gonna go around and check with the food banks and stuff like that, see if I can get some stuff from them so that I could do this.
Some corn and
Yeah,
some peas or beans, whatever, stuffing.
corn, peas, carrots. Well, I usually make homemade stuffing, so I'm pretty
No,
good
but yeah,
at
but
it.
you still have to start with the dry
Yeah,
bread crumbs, and
yeah, yeah.
do
There's
you
all
do
that stuff.
you
Cranberry
put
sauce.
cranberry sauce? If you put chopped walnuts in there, there's chopped walnuts. If you do with that kind of stuffing, depending on which kind of stuffing, or if you do a cornbread stuffing, it all depends on, and there's cranberry sauce,
Yeah,
all the rest of the trimmings, rolls, heat and
yeah,
serve rolls or whatever.
Take care,
yeah.
Blue.
So,
Thank you for
so
coming in.
I figure it's going to cost roughly around between $300 and $500 to do it. Or unless I can get the food donated, then I don't have to worry about the cooking part of it. I have a spot to make sure that everything's cooked properly and everything. Um, that's not a problem. I don't have to pay for the use of the kitchen or anything like that. So I will have to package all the stuff. So there's going to be a little bit extra cost this year with getting some like takeout
Take out serving
trays
trays.
or yeah. So there's because you're not allowed to sit inside anywheres and have a meal here in Canada. So I'll have to go out and serve it on the streets and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna have that's gonna be that little extra cost this year of doing it. Uh, that I've got probably 3 cans of coffee already donated, so I just got I'm going to get one of those big heated thermoses so that it holds about 250 cups, I believe, of coffee. So I'll be able to fill that up and take out hot coffee for them. And
There you go.
uh,
As we used to
well,
call it, a warming beverage.
yeah, yeah. I'm not a very big kitchen person. I love working in the kitchen, but I don't know what half the tools are, utensils and that. I just, hey, this works. So, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting one this year. And that I'm going to try and record all of it. I try not to record the homeless as much as possible out of respect for them, out of respect for their dignity. Because a lot of people, they feel ashamed and that just to be on camera. and people knowing that they're homeless, and when they're just they're struggling and trying to do the right thing. So I try not to film the homeless as much as I can. But with this event, I think that maybe I have to show people what's going on here in my city alone. And like, we don't have many here, homeless here. I think there's about between 60 and 90 people that are either in the shelter or out on the street here, roughly in St. John, New Brunswick.
I
Fredericton,
think
it's worse.
the estimation in my city is about 10,000.
Yeah. Fortunately, here in St. John, New Brunswick, they have some really good programs, and it seems to be working. I just wish that the rest of the province and the rest of the country would look at the way that St. John is doing it, and some of the stuff that they're doing in Fredericton now, and the way that they're doing it. And if they were to look at that and, maybe implement it, our homeless would go from maybe 3 million to 1.
There you go.
So, but we will always have homelessness. There are people that just prefer to be on the street than be in a house, and that, unfortunately, but that's their lifestyle, and I have to respect it. But, I don't have to like it, but I have to respect their decision on what they want to do with their life, because it is a free country and they can do what they like.
Just like some people prefer to live off the grid.
Yes, exactly.
So that's their lifestyle. If that's what you choose, then so be it.
Yeah. But now we're not only with the military on the streets and stuff like that, but now we're getting nurses and teachers, a lot of professionals now that are losing their job because of this mandatory thing that's going around right now. They're losing their jobs.
Yeah, my mandatory jab.
Yeah, and here in Canada, if you get fired or quit because you don't take that jab, you don't get unemployment insurance. So you're pretty much out on the street right away. You can work for 20 years.
They're talking about taking Social Security or disability benefits or retirement benefits from us veterans. The president. No, wait a minute. I worked for those. I'm not getting a free handout. I worked for those benefits all my life. I shouldn't have to get a jab to get benefits that I worked for.
Yeah, no.
It's one thing if I walk up and say, "Hey, I want a handout," but I'm not getting a handout. I'm getting benefits that I earned, that I sacrificed for.
Like, I lost over 12 and a half years of pension because I quit during this strike in Toronto. I worked for QP. And I quit during a strike because I didn't believe that I should be making that kind of money off the homeless when I was working in a homeless shelter back in the 90s. And so I lost 12 and a half years of pension. I'm on a disability now, government disability, but they want to take that away from me now. And I'm medically exempt from it. And they're thinking I may lose my disability. People in public housing here.
Hello, fun-loving couple. Welcome to the show. Good to see you.
So that's why I really want to feed the homeless. There's so many professionals out there, and like I said, our military especially. They deserve much, much more than what they're getting now. And like I keep mentioning on different panels, and that I believe that if you get an honorable discharge or you retire from the military, no matter what branch, that the house that you're in, the day that you retire, your mortgage is taken over by the military, and they pay off your mortgage so that you never have to worry about your house being taken from. All you got to do is pay your property taxes. that takes that, $1,500 a month burden off of them, or $2,000 a month burden off of them every month.
Yep.
So it's just one thing that I believe that should happen for all of our military.
And in that light, if you get close and you need help, send me an email. xloggie@gmail, xloggie @gmail, and send me your PayPal. I will send $50 your way. It's what I do.
Who sorry, are you talking to me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
If you need to feed money, help feeding those, let me know. It's part of what I do. I help everybody in the community that I can. And
hey man, you helped me once already, man.
I
You sent me that
understand that,
camera.
but this is what I do, okay? And you understand that already. So
Yeah.
whether it's Jackie or Ginger or Bud or Bill or anybody here that I can, if I can, I help them.
The only problem is you got to send them a poll video. I just thought I'd bring that up.
Yeah, the pole dancing. Yeah.
Oh. Oh, so I can make a cartoon of a pole dancing?
No.
Yes.
Here's a pole
No,
dancer for you.
Really, it's part of what I do. It's that I've helped so many people I can't count. It's what I do. I have the ability to do that. I've been blessed with my smart decisions and joining the military and staying the 28 years, and so yeah.
Yeah.
If you need that, send me a message, and I will, with your PayPal, I'll put.
Okay, I will do that. I'll make sure that I try and get my fellow countrymen here. But yeah,
You can always,
oh,
if nothing else, you can contact Bill or Ginger or the Chad. They all know my email. I just put it in there.
The Chad.
Yeah.
He's my co-host on our news.
Yeah.
We have a show.
Yeah, but yeah, he comes here all the time. I'm pretty sure he's got my email, but there it is in the chat. But yeah, the Chad comes here on a regular basis.
Yeah, I'm the Bud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we started that new show there, and we had some good reviews of it so far. Of course, one of our first guests on there, well, we did the veteran show and had Stephen Musel on there for almost an hour.
Yep.
So
he's a supporter of ours also.
Yeah.
Yes, again, a shout out to Stephen Musial and Brian Sessions.
And
they came up. They donated the money for us to get our LLC. We're still working on our 501c. It's going to take months.
We've got a bill, and they donated 2/5 of what we need.
Right
so
there, but we can at least get
they
the
got
LLC
us on our way,
done.
So we can get that part done.
Yeah, we can get the LLC done first, and then we can, because the actual 501, apparently, from what I understand, it in order to get the filing fee or whatever they call it, the IRS determines that. And I don't know what they do, but we were told it could take anywhere from 3 to 5 months. Is that what?
3 to 5 months, yes. Average of 4.
Yeah, I'm like,
that's fine.
I hope it's an Amazon type thing. You know what I mean? It's gonna take a week to get there, and it shows up the next day. Yeah. So Jackie would be great to come up, see how she's doing. One of our favorite female vets. But
well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take on out here. I appreciate meeting all you folks, and you have a good evening. And
thank you for coming.
Thank you for
appreciate it.
joining us.
I'll be
And
back
like I
when I
said,
can.
we generally have shows. Right now, because of Bud's health, we're down to like 2 shows a week. We were doing 6 shows a week.
Right.
Uh, as he's getting better, we're for a couple of weeks we didn't have any shows because he was in the hospital, and uh, I was very depressed. I've got to admit I was very depressed with my wife passing away like that abruptly. Uh, After she got the Pfizer jab, that's all I'm going to say, so we don't get struck. But
All right, then.
if you
I
if
wish.
you if you want to just watch for us at 7 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays, right now, just come on back. You're welcome anytime.
Very welcome. Thank you so
Thank,
much for coming.
thank you all. You have a good evening.
And Gil, I hope you got the email and
No,
I can get in
perfect.
contact and talk to you. That'd be really cool. Because we'd like to have it's we have a female friend of KY's that's from Vietnam. You should try to get maybe the two of them on the same panel and talk.
I have a couple of friends. One is Mary Lenz, and the other one is Darla Kaboy. They're both female veterans. Uh, they both said they'd be willing to come up and talk on panel. And then Darla messed her phone up. Her dog jumped up and knocked her phone down. She's having some problems with it. Sometimes we'll be talking and it just utterly cuts out. Kind of like your last one, Bud. Had a mind of its own, she said. So, and Darla wasn't a big computer person to start with, so she said, I don't have anything to do with computers. I'm not in the army anymore. I don't have anything to do with computers. If I can't call you and talk to you about it, I don't want to know about it. But she's quite a bit more mature than I am. I'm not going to say anymore because I know exactly what her age is. Exactly what her age is. But she's like most mature people over 60 that they don't want anything to do with computers if they don't have grandchildren that they have to contact far away and stuff, so. And some of them have no idea.
She's not more mature than you. You're just a little bit more childish than her. How's that?
I'll bite.
Yeah, you know it's true. Come on. Guys don't get mature when they get older, they get ridiculous.
That's the difference between children and husbands. When you raise children, you know they're going to mature. When you marry your husband, you know he's not going to.
Exactly.
You know he's not going to.
Passing the gauntlet over to the child.
That's right.
Here, you take over the responsible one.
The children are going to grow and mature. Your husband, you're stuck with whatever he's at when you marry him.
Well, no, they say the reason guys get childish and go crazy is because they watch what's going on with their women. I'm just saying.
All different points of view.
Well, KY, we did pretty good. We got our topic covered. Hopefully it helped. And again, if you are a veteran or know any veterans that are depressed or show the signs of suicide, please reach out. They're saying that we could eliminate this massive suicide rate of the military by almost 80% just by making them not feel like they're isolated. So it's just a matter of reaching out to your.
If you know any veterans who would like to talk, come up here on panel and talk with us. We're more than happy to have them in the chat or up on panel.
Definitely. And then all of you remember that it's not just the United States ones that you can, like I said, read out that number. This is the crisis for Canada. So any active service members out in Canada that need help for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just like here in the United States. And that number is flashing on the tag right now, the banner. Well, I guess that should wrap it up. I
And that should
appreciate
just
everyone coming
wrap up
in.
today's show, folks. That's right.
We will be going out to do a feeding soon, and we have another show coming up. And look for it. It's like I said, like he was saying, it's my time is around 4, but what is it? What is your
7
time?
p.m. our time.
Which is Eastern Standard
Eastern
Time, or
time.
is it Eastern Daylight Saving Time?
Just Eastern. Just say Eastern. Daylight,
Just Eastern.
normal. Eastern daylight, Eastern savings. We don't just Eastern time.
Savings.
Whatever the current Eastern time is, it's 7 o'clock.
Or he just comes to shitty California time, which is 4. Well, thank you so much. Y'all take safe. Stay safe and take care of each other, and look out for your local vet and thank them for their service.
Stay safe,
Before I
be
get
well,
my
everyone.
friend butt out.
KY out.